In my trade, to be spoken well of can be professionally disastrous.
Maybe you didn't notice the subtle hints associating each person who possessed the book, the 9 gates of the Kingdom of Shadows, with their status in life, their elevation, how high or low they lived, representing their sins and their wickedness. In this video, we explain the relationship between how many steps above the earth the characters were, and how severe were their sins. These were the steps to hell. The 9th Gate, directed by Roman Polanski, was released in 1999 and loosely based on the novel The Club Dumas, written by Arturo Pérez-Reverte. As Corso and the girl were looking for Liana's chateau, they run into a baker working from a lower floor. The basement window acted more of a portal between two different worlds, one more humble and virtuous than the other. The lone baker was dressed in white, simple workman clothes, showing no sign of status or celebration. Who else worked in the basement? That would be Bernie, Corso's wise-cracking collaborator and otherwise the closest thing to a friend. Bernie is introduced descending a staircase, not just any staircase but a spiral one, showing his journey to humility is a winding one. As the two discussed how Corso swindled rare books from a client, Corso stood above Bernie. It hinted the differences, albeit slight, between the two men's personal moral compasses. Early in the film, we know little of Corso, but Bernie showed he was a straight shooter, telling Corso what sort of man he was. While Bernie seemed to be a down-to-earth, gentle soul, he was not without sin or temptation, unable to resist greed and sometimes gluttony. Bernie was too close to the book, and it cost him everything. Moving to the polar opposite was Boris Balkan, who kept his copy of the Book of the 9 Gates safely on a secure floor in his tower. The number of stairs to reach his floor was too great and never measured, as he shared an elevator with Corso, by far the highest above any of his peers. Balkan revered, perhaps even enjoyed, towering over others. He was the greediest and most proud, and not without great wrath. But what about the others? Victor Fargas, owner of one of the 3 copies, lived alone in a rundown, dilapidated mansion. He was soft-spoken, kind, and welcomed Corso into his home and to his collection. A gentleman, he was not a believer in the occult, but his front door is preceded by a short flight of stairs. Was he not free of sin? Fargas succumbed to pride, even if it was only but a little. He would rather live in squalor than sell any from his collection. Baroness Kessler, however, lived on the 2nd floor, but the number of steps up the staircase Corso navigated were numerous and exhausting. Perhaps wickedness is not just judged by height, but the effort. Does this mean Kessler carried a fair amount of wickedness? Perhaps not as corrupt as Balkan, but wicked just the same. Was it out of her belief in the occult, or her wealth and status? Maybe there was something missing, something not mentioned in the film, about the Baroness. Was she living in exile in France? What was Kessler doing during her prime of youth? What about Andrew Telfer? He was introduced early in the film on a flat level, without the use of stairs. Could this have represented his nobility and humility? But Telfer would take one step upward, committing the sin of ending his life. Liana Telfer is also introduced descending from a 2nd floor using a winding staircase, and in comparison to her late husband, it was a subconscious message that she was the more wicked of the two. Corso confronted Liana in her room after climbing walls to her 2nd floor. After reclaiming her husband's copy, took it back to her chateau in France. This symbolized the reach of Liana's corruption. While no higher than Kessler's residence, Corso struggled more to stand eye to eye to her. Like her American home, the 2nd floor is her place. It also is no coincidence that Corso and the girl were led to the cellar, where Corso overpowered Liana's bodyguard, named Bruno in the script. There he was more virtuous, more grounded. Before we discuss our final character, like, share, and subscribe if you enjoy this video and want to see more like it. Dean Corso was introduced in a skyscraper apartment of one of his clients. not necessarily a reflection on him, but the world he works and lives in. It is filled with deceit, greed, gluttony, wrath, and envy. It is ambiguous on which floor Corso lives on. While he lives in room 127, he must take an elevator and a short flight of stairs to get to his apartment. Unlike the rest of the characters, the path to his home is winding and more elusive. In the final act, we see Corso gaze at Balkan from above. Little different how Balkan had done the same earlier in the movie. Wanting the engravings for himself, Corso confronts Balkan as he tried to raise the devil. This was when Corso succumbed to the final deadly sin of pride, all while he descended from a winding staircase. He was no different than Liana Telfer, and perhaps just as wicked. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think about the staircases and the elevators? This is Mr. G of Synergy saying, when you're going down the apples and pears, mind the oranges. Check out other videos on the channel. Thanks for watching.